So when that was happening, the opposition said that they are not ready for that kind of talk, the judiciary and the executive. And Raila Odinga spoke yesterday. Perhaps before I give Honorable Sossion right of reply, Director, let me just play that and see what Raila said.
Judges do their thing independently. We want to tell the Chief Justice not to compromise the position of the court. She already took a position. There's no need for dialogue.
There's nothing to negotiate. Absolutely. And I would be very disappointed if Chief Justice Kome was to fall for that obvious trick.
Honorable Sossion, react to that, even as you have the right of reply. Go ahead.
Yeah, of course. The statement by Azimio is born out of the imminent threats of their benefits out of these judgments that are stopping implementation of the key pillars of Kenya Kwanza administration. They know out of dialogue some of these things will be resolved and the cartels will be removed out of the way. Maybe such voices are being sponsored by cartels that would like to see such judgments sustained and such judgments delivered. And my right of reply to my brother here is that what I'm stating here about bribery of judges, I've not woken up today to come and mention them here. If you check the court records where I appeared on behalf of teachers in the past, I stated as such through my lawyers. So I'm not recreating things. They are within the records of the court that I stated that some judges indeed were bribed by government operatives, particularly the big case of teachers, 50-60% in 2015 that involved trafficking of 100 million shillings through government lawyers to members of the bench. That's a fact. And it's not something that I stated out of the court. I stated in the corridors of the court through my lawyers, and it remains as such. And that position has not been vacated, and several others. So I'm not coming to state it here. So we are talking about specific cases. Trying to bring in the presidential election is a defeatist way of arguing. In fact, because the presidential elections was about tallying, it was about adding numbers, and the seventh judge bench added the numbers, and the numbers never changed. And you see, you can't vary even if you wanted to vary. You cannot vary. We saw the National Security Advisory Council at Bomas trying to overturn things, and it is not possible. And this is where the sovereign, tell me how to overturn the sovereign power of the people that is manifested in numbers that have been added and that anybody can add all over the world. So I don't think that is an item to discuss. For the dialogue in the judiciary, it has been called by the Chief Justice.
Yes.
And the President has acceded. So any other party trying to disrupt that form of consultation, I don't think such a person means well for the country. Any efforts to weed out corruption in the judiciary, weed out corruption in the executive, weed out corruption in the legislature, eliminate corruption in the country, and remove cartels in our economy is a good thing for the citizens. And I think that is what the president wants. He has said he's going to ensure that there is a rule of law and a constitutional order. For what we are seeing in the headlines, root of many battles within the region, I think it's a known fact that the president has come out as a strong voice in the continent of promoting intra-African trade and seeking for balance of trade and rights with other global economies, the North and the rest. And within the region, the East African community, through the efforts of the presidency, of the president himself, Kenya economically is becoming stronger and strategic in the region. So when you see some little bit of discomfort from other nations, then it's an indicator of advantages of issues of Kenya. Kenya is becoming more advantaged in many ways, and that should not worry you. because we've got a clear ministry that has a clear mission of diplomatic relations with all the regions. So there is no cause for alarm. However much this strategy of choreographing all media headlines to look like Kenya is on fire in East Africa, by the end of the day, it will be forgotten because it is not the truth. The truth is Kenya is relating well with the members of the region. Kenya is a senior member of East African Community, is a strong economic bloc. It's a member of IGAD, and the president is pursuing a strong mission of promoting intra-African trade and opening up Africa. And that is why Kenya is now a free visa entry country.
Okay.
The next frontier is to open the airspace.
Right.
We free our airspace, and this is a good mission.
All right.
And
so
I think all is well.
Thank you very much. Yes, Nyamongo. From that clip by Raila Odinga and Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka.
You see, these are our leaders.
Yes.
Honestly, the Honorable Raila Odinga and Stephen, these are our leaders. When they are encouraging this one arm of government not to sit, they know what they are saying in their own thinking because of this right to opinion. You cannot say that Raila Odinga does not know what he is speaking. So the thing which I may distinguish from their opinion and mine is that they think that when the judiciary is going to sit with the executive, it is going to be compromised. No. This dialogue that is being encouraged by Kenyans promotes patriotism, promotes national unity. It's about sharing and the devolution of power. It's about the rule of law, participation of the people, democracy, human dignity. It is equity, social justice. It is human rights. It is equality. So when we discuss with you, Mr. Orogo, it's not that you are going to compromise me. No. I will act in the place of the Chief Justice. I will say, I will go to the executive and ask the president. This is what Article 160, Sabbatical 5 says. A member of the judiciary is not liable in an action or a suit in anything, in respect of anything done or omitted to be done in good faith in the lawful performance of a judicial function. So what do you think about this? Then we discuss. Maybe the president is not aware of this clause. So this is the discussion which I'm anticipating. To discuss in accordance with the Constitution. Remember, we have three things. Number one, we have legislative authority. Number two, we have executive authority.
Yes.
Number three, judicial authority. And you will allow me to envisage what Article 94, Sabbatical 1 states. The legislative authority of the Republic is derived from the people, and at the national level is vested in and exercised by Parliament. Sabbatical 2. Parliament manifests the diversity of the nation, represents the will of the people, and exercises their sovereignty. Here is a member of Parliament, Senator Orwoba. Senator Orwoba should appear to be a member of Parliament. Should appear. Listen.
Okay.
He should appear to have known what is the role of her office. It is about legislation, oversight, and representation. Not to represent the executive, to oversight the executive. Number two, when you look at Article 130, the executive authority of the Republic is derived from the people. Yeah. And shall be exercised in accordance with this Constitution. Same to the legislative authority. Why? It is about the people. Every other authority is derived from the people of Kenya, because all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya. So if leaders in the executive, the legislature, and in the judiciary are not able to sit down and harmonize their views, then we will go back to the people, because this is the consent between the people and the state.
Okay, so I have this question for all of you. Senator, even as you respond to this one, right of reply again, you should have, of course you are. So what happens if that dialogue is formed today, tomorrow, even next week, and then we have got, some cases still pending in court? The finance bill is still there, the housing levy bill is still there. So what if these cases do not go as per the government's wish? So what will happen next?
First of all, we should appear, all of us, to understand that we are all Kenyans, and our interest is for this country to remain peaceful and get development. And so therefore, my good friend here is a lawyer. He should appear to be knowledgeable. I'm a member of parliament, and I sit in the Senate, and I know the roles of which I have been put there. I'm specially elected to represent women, and I can tell you for a fact that if there is any doubt of who I appear to be, it is not on my side. It is not on my duties. I represent women very well. Yeah. As a matter of fact, maybe I should just give me just 30 seconds to say that in that representation of women, as I'm specially elected, I have fronted 6 bills in less than a year. One has already gone through the whole process, the Konza ICT bill, and unfortunately I lost out on 2 votes. Otherwise it would have been law today. And I continue to represent women in the House well. So I don't think there is any confusion there. Maybe the confusion that he is having is that in my role as a member of parliament, I am also specially elected from a political party, the ruling political party called United Democratic Alliance. And that party is the party that won the election, because I think some people get confused. That party won the election. Our presidential candidate is, in fact, the sitting president, the 5th, and we are the ones who are pushing the agenda, the Kenya Kwanza agenda. And in that responsibility, as the political party that I serve, I am therefore obliged to represent the views of that party and to be able to push that agenda either through the legislative process, which is fronting bills that will support that agenda, which is what we are doing, including the ending period poverty. The free sanitary towels bill is actually a bill that is supporting the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, where we signed a women charter with the women of this country. So I think up to there I have educated my learned
Nyamongo, have you...
and I think he's not confused anymore.
Are you educated now?
I think he's not confused anymore. So what I can say for me is, it's very strange that the people who are pushing for something called BBI, Building Bridges Initiative, which in essence was a national dialogue, are the same people coming out and saying, don't talk, musionge. That also shows you that there was never real intention of actually having a national dialogue. Because you would think the people who still have BBI at heart would be saying, finally, these people have seen that BBI was also intending to achieve some of the things you're trying to achieve with this conversation. So Raila Odinga should be the last person to stop people from talking. He is a beneficiary of dialogue through the handshake government. He is the #1 beneficiary of dialogue. Remember when there was such discourse and people said, let us talk, and there was a handshake and they sat down? He's the #1 beneficiary. He is the #1 beneficiary of any kind of engagement in terms of opposition sitting down with the current government. Even when we had the committee, remember, we are just coming out of another dialogue that was in form of the national dialogue that, we brought legislators together and representative of the religious community, blah, blah, blah. That was also dialogue. Raila Odinga has always been a person that pushes for dialogue. So to see him, and this is where Kenyans now need to understand how the politics goes. If you see a person who has been supporting dialogue through and through for all his 50-something years of politics, then one day he says, let's not talk. Then you really need to ask yourself why Raila is saying let's not talk. Is he afraid that perhaps because he's a beneficiary of dialogue, that someone else outside of him could be that beneficiary instead of him? So dialogue for me is not a conversation of whether we should have it or not. Dialogue for me is a matter of when and how. So when are we going to talk? And how are we going to talk so that people don't see that the judiciary is being compromised or even that the executive is being compromised? Don't forget, it's not only judiciary that can be compromised. Yeah. Even executive can, because us as Kenyans, we want affordable housing. Yeah. And we do not want our president to go in there and be convinced to drop affordable housing. So we do not want the executive to be compromised. As legislators, we also do not want anyone who's going there to represent the legislative agenda to suddenly compromise our interests in terms of oversight. So all these parties must understand that no one wants any institution compromised. And I can tell you, Kenyans are the ones who are saying they don't want their interests compromised.
Very good.
So judiciary should know that they are not the only party that can be compromised. We also don't want the judges and the Chief Justice changing our agenda for Kenya Kwanza and the manifesto that we put out for the people.
All right, very good. Yes, Daniel, in yes, 1 minute, because I want us to shift into something else.
Just be brief. I think that is well articulated, and I am for the opinion that when there is when to discuss and how to discuss it, I think people need to know what is being discussed. Just be brought on the table. Like, although I had. You can remember vividly that I had an issue with the NADCO formation. And when I said here that we are a country of committees and dialogues and, people sitting down and finding a way of, anything is a commission of inquiry, anything is a dialogue, so many. So we are a nation that goes that direction, but we form this, get the people, we already know who is going to sit and talk. But what is being discussed? You see,
the agenda.
What is always the agenda that we are able to commit and probably get to understand the outcome of it? I would want to pull myself away from whether who is right in terms of and who are the beneficiaries. I think it could be important that these beneficiaries of these conversations of this nature, I agree with the senator, is the people. But again, we are spoiling the broth by always trying to bring personalities in this kind of conversation, though very important that we know. So when we profile people as beneficiaries of this dialogue or beneficiaries of corruption in the judiciary, or people, we appear to be speaking for the two sides of the mouth. We are speaking, we are not really trying to be objective of what we speak about, because there are a lot that can be said about the two principles. There are a lot that can be said about the head of state and the opposition leader towards their stance in the judiciary, towards their stance in the dialogue, towards their stance in the constitution. Because then we could sit here and profile their history as to whether they supported referendum or not, as whether they supported the constitution or not, as whether they supported the dialogue or not. I think in that direction, the politicians would sway us away from knowing now who is right and the beneficiaries of whoever what. But the most important thing that I want to agree with, that I think is important to have a truce. And the discussion is what? What are we really discussing in this dialogue? Are we discussing, is it compromise? Is it trying to, compromise in a sense that there could be a middle ground for these two particular institutions with regards to the welfare of Kenyans? So I think the question as we move forward, it could be that there is a national dialogue or not, but Kenyans would be interested in what are we discussing? What are these two leaders talking about?
Now that you're still on air, let me ask you this question. Let's cross over now to another thing altogether as we come to an end. What do you make of this cartoon here, the editorial cartoon on the Standard today? We have got two gentlemen from the mountain. This is Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President, and Kiharu legislator, and Ndindi Nyoro, and they seem to be wearing some big shoes here. One, the Deputy President seemed to be fully inside one pair of shoe. That is Mount Kenya region, and the other side, Ndindi Nyoro is also the other side, Kingpin. But now the difference is Ndindi's one leg is out, another one is in. There we have it. So, what do you make of this editorial cartoon, Daniel?
One cannot you can't put on one shoe. You have to complete by putting on a pair.
Right?
Right?
Yes.
So the Mount Kenya region, one pair seems to, one shoe seems to be having one, the other one is the other one. But you can see it is written Mount Kenya region Kingpin. So it can't be Mount Kenya region on the other side and then Kingpin on the other side.
But look at this shoe,
So,
it's fully tied.
Yes.
The laces are fully tied. Ndindi Nyoro's laces are untied here.
I think it's just simply, for me, I think it's matter. One is already feeling complete. The other one is still struggling to have a closed kingpinship. But also something interesting. The UDA colors coming out. Are you seeing that one is on a short and then the other one is on a complete attire?
This must be green.
So
Ndindi Nyoro's
I can see the yellow
shirt,
bit of it.
And the deputy president also has.
I think all in all is just ambitions, the generational ambition. That an elder feels complete, and in a sense that there has been closed, and that is making progress. But the other one seems still incomplete because the shoe is not properly tied, and that is in a short, signifying a young generation. People who walks in who put on shorts and pants, probably are young people who are still agile and ambitious.
Senator, what do you make of this?
It portrays more of a generational struggle within the party.
That is Ndindi Nyoro?
Yes.
Okay. Senator?
I see a lot of energy on the supposed, alleged Ndindi Nyoro. Yeah, they are portraying him with a lot of energy, like a person who has so much to accomplish. That's what I see from there. But most importantly, there are two, there's one pair of shoe.
Yes.
That's the most important thing you should understand. And in that one pair of shoe, if there was going to be a kingpin, they would wear both shoes.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah? So it would be one kingpin with both shoes. But in this picture, it shows that it is divided, obviously.
It is divided.
Yeah. And but one thing you should note also, as much as it is divided, they are together. Can you see that?
Yeah, they are.
They are together. Divided by together.
They are divided by togetherness.
And that, and I choose to because I've had a very short period in politics, so I'll not pretend to be knowledgeable on matters Mount Kenya.
Yeah.
But I choose to interpret it in the sense that the mountain might have discourse here and there, but when the opportune time comes for them to unite, they always unite.
All right.
Yeah.
Nyamongo?
So I believe they're just testing the waters, but I can tell you if the time comes where the mountain is needed to speak as one, they will always speak as one. And right now they are all both wearing UDA. The mountain is still squarely within United Democratic Alliance. That is the most important thing. That there is no other party color there.
I love your finishing.
The other things they can discuss, but the mountain is still
but they have turned their backs on each other. So remember, are you seeing that they're turning their backs on each other as well?
Nyamongo, we take a break, then you come back. Then you give us an interpretation of this one. Okay, maybe you can give me, as we go to a break, what do you interpret of this cartoon?
They are two shoes and the same one. Same.
Different by the same?
Yeah, they are the same. One by the by same guys. So it means these guys are representing a certain region. So one issue then depicts what? Mount Kenya region, and the other one Kingpin. What I'm saying is that when you see a point at this time, Ndindi Nyoro is appearing as one of the competitors of Rigathi Gachagua, then indeed Ndindi Nyoro has made what? Has made progress. Has made progress. Ndindi Nyoro, from where I see it, he has that quality of being adequately or well qualified, intellectually and physically, to be a kingpin for Mount Kenya. And when you see him there, it's not him alone. It's like UDA guys are discussing on how to dislodge Rigathi Gachagua in the place of who? Ndindi Nyoro. And the time will tell. I know. Time will tell. No, I'm responding.
Now you are assuming.
I'm responding. And when you see, I'm saying, did you know, Mr. Orogo, that Ndindi Nyoro is the only Kenyan who can work single-handedly our budget. He's proficient
in
economy. Yeah, Ndindi Nyoro is mentally resourceful.
100%. He's an economist.
He can do our budget, our financial budget, single-handedly.
That is true.
This man, Ndindi Nyoro, I'm telling you, watch him. Maybe, maybe not. Okay. He's the next deputy president.
But then, Mwalimu Sossion, you'll agree with us. No. Probably you are the oldest one here. You cannot start to
one thing
inherit
I want you to know.
Your father's piece of land is still alive.
One thing I want us to appreciate is that Article 38 of the Constitution allows Kenyans political rights. So the politics we are seeing in Mount Kenya, I don't think we should read too much. There are politics in Rift Valley of Kingpin, what happens. There are politics in Kisii, they are everywhere. And I want to tell you, UDA is a democratic party. And there are a generation of leaders. There are those who will go and others will come. As far as I know, from where I sit, there is no war between Rigathi Gachagua and Ndindi Nyoro. Rigathi Gachagua is the deputy president and he represents the current leadership. Ndindi Nyoro is one of the best members of parliament who has done very well. And in fact, I attended his program of Elimbora in Kiharu. And this is where these narratives came up. And people are saying, hey, here is a young man who is so good, so honest, and a competent leader who can be fronted for Kenya, which is okay. And so I don't think now when it gets now to the cartoonist, you draw something to look like division. I think this personification of division and war, really to me, it doesn't exist. And if Ndindi Nyoro harbors the ambition of being the president of Kenya, it is within his democratic right. And nobody should vilify him. It is up to him to organize himself. That does not threaten the current position of Rigathi Gachagua as the deputy president of Kenya. So there's nothing wrong with that. And within UDA, there's nothing wrong with mentoring young leaders. And I think in any entity, let the young leaders think, wachipange, and things will fall in place. Because eventually, why do you go for elections? To choose people.
Right. Let's come back. I love the way you tone down.
I don't think
I love the way
you've
toned down
too much
on this topic now.
I don't think we need to read too much on that.
Okay, let's take a break.
Let Mount Kenya deal with their politics internally. Another one will emerge. I don't know you'll have how many shoes here next time. And another cartoonist.
We'll wear many of them. Well, let's take a break. When we come back, we're just going to give you 1 minute for you so you can wind up. Let's take a break. We'll break back shortly. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, tumemaliza hii maneno, but I want to give my guests 20 seconds each to give the final remarks. Let me start with the only lady in the room here. Lest I be vilified.
Thank you for having me to the show today. I think I would say to Kenyans that we need to criticize this government. That is their right. But we also need to remember that we are criticizing to make whatever services or development that is being offered, to make it efficient or to make sure that resources are being spent well. But ending up just taking positions because you're being misled. For instance, you've seen what is happening with the affordable housing. The positions that Kenyans are being made to believe is actually the wrong position. This government wants Kenyans to own homes. We don't want Kenyans to die as tenants. We want people to be able to own homes and bring down their cost of living in terms of that rent and stuff like that. So some of these things that are being shut down is really for the interests of Kenyans. And I'm glad that Kenyans have continued to give the president time to deliver. And we are starting to see the fruits of that, you know, of the hard work, of the foundation that we placed last year. The fruits are starting. So you've seen even the oil, fuel has come down in price. Things are starting to happen. Unga is coming down in price. So I think criticize, but criticize for the good of the development that is coming down to you, not to just shut down projects.
Thank you.
Yes.
Daniel?
Thank you.
I would equally call upon us to maintain internal vigilance because that is our civic duty, and we should be civically competent enough to question constructively. May I also, congratulate you guys on a different platform. I wanted to say this, though I came late. I saw there's free airing of AFCON. The KBC has been airing AFCON. And, these are the things that saves the country from people paying so much on pay-to-air channels. So for the promotion of sports in this country and in this continent, you guys have done a good work to bring this live to the people. Millions of Kenyans who are now able to watch it freely. And also just to ask the government that the next AFCON we are hosting, right, 2027, with Uganda and Tanzania. So I am hoping that we've sent our delegation to Abidjan to benchmark on then how would we receive guests and how everything that the whole infrastructure about AFCON. And lastly is that we also need to appreciate our legends. I have seen AFCON countries, the value they attach to their footballers and people who've given them the glory. So I think this is encourageable. Apart from us having the conversation today, I just wanted to thank KBC on behalf of many Kenyans.
Very good.
Who are now able to sit at their comfort to follow the proceeding of African Cup of Nations.
All right. On behalf of the corporation, I say thank you so much for that. All right. Thanks for watching. Nyamongo, kindly.
Yeah, we feel happy appreciation for this state cooperation for upholding freedom of the media. Congratulations. Number two, allow me this morning to encourage the people of Kenya and instill that quality of spirit upon them to face danger or pain without showing fear. Because the Second World War was won not because of weapons, but because of that confidence. Winston Churchill instilled this confidence on the Britons, telling them that you need to have the belief in yourself. In his own words, and you will allow me to quote him, if we wish to be free, then we must fight. It is all God's will. One can die in a silent sleep, and God can spare another in a battle. Full stop and unquote. So the people of Kenya must realize that we have the right and the power to give orders and make decisions, because all sovereign power belongs to the people. If our public and state officers have failed us, we have that power to do it directly under Article 1, Sub-Article 2. The people may exercise their sovereign power either directly or through their democratically elected representatives. Full stop.
Thank you.
All
right.
As a country, we must continue promoting the rule of law and constitutional order and dispensation of justice. And Kenyans must endeavor to ensure that our economy grows tremendously, maybe to a double digit. We've always targeted a double digit, and I think we are almost headed there. But this can only happen when we do a number of things. We must promote competent leadership in the country. Merit. We must be a nation of merit and make our system clean and remove the business of conflicts of interest and corruption. And that is why all institutions must submit to that call and that desire of the people of Kenya, including the judiciary. They must accept to be audited. The legislature, they must accept to be audited. The executive, they must accept to be audited. Social institutions like the judges, the church or religious institutions, they must accept to be audited. It is now time for us to clean Kenya and clean our economy and keep it on a double-digit trajectory and ensure that the very essential services are delivered to the people. When that is done, that is all what Kenyans want. And I think we are now headed in that direction.
Very good.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on the show. Thank you, Santi Sana, for waking up at, to come and talk to Kenyans. That is Wilson Sossion, former NAS Secretary General and CS. I still take that with a pinch. I still take that with a pinch. You know what? Nyamongo, who is a doctor. Nyamongo, all right? Thank you so much for joining us, as well as Daniel Orogo. Senator Orogo has just left because of an emergency that she's attending to. All right. And you as a viewer, thanks Sana for watching. But before you go, as always, it's always good to tell you what's happening across our borders. That's on the front page of the BBC. We have it there. FBI investigations after ex-A&F boss sex claims. Special agents are now interviewing and issuing subpoenas to potential witnesses, according to the BBC. Very fast to the front page of France 24. 24 live. Macron says that France did not join strikes in Houthis to avoid escalation. This is what is happening here on the front page of our affiliate papers. All right, that is where we wrap it up. Asante sana for taking your time to join us today on Good Morning Kenya. We are taking a break, but Good Morning Kenya continues after this. Stay with us. Good morning. I'm Victor Oloo.